Train the muscles, not the joints. So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about isolation movements and how they're a little bit different than compound movements. A common question I get is, how many reps should I do when I'm doing bicep curls, or whether I'm doing tricep kickbacks, or whether I'm doing press downs? How many reps should I use? And should I be trying to do 5 to 7 reps or 8 to 10 reps or whatever, but should I be working in the heavier weights with these isolation exercises? And although there's no absolute rule on this, it's not like you never should go heavy. I know that you should go heavy from time to time with everything, as long as it's safe, of course, and as long as it doesn't break you up, okay? So, like I said, the overhead tricep extension, I never say to go heavy on that one because I know it just kills the elbows, right, with most people. But if you are going to do isolation exercises, you just have to bear in mind that if you're going to change the rep ranges, sometimes an isolation movement becomes more of a compound movement. And what I mean by this is that sometimes because there's movement in other parts of the body, you start to actually bring other muscles into the movement. So lately I've been doing really high reps, like super high reps of bicep and super high reps of tricep, because I find that I'm getting a better mind-muscle connection and a better pump, and I'm getting more development from this. And I started to think, okay, why is this? Well, the thing is that there are different weak links that happen in your body from time to time. And in my case, sometimes it's a loose shoulder from a previous hockey injury. So sometimes when I'm doing heavier weight, the shoulder just moves slightly out of joint just a little bit. And because of that, it sometimes will take the tension off the muscle. Now, if I stay with lighter weight, this action starts to become less pronounced. So I'm not actually getting the joint pulled on, and the tension is able to stay on the bicep. Now, that's one reason. Injuries, right? Sometimes you have injuries, and when you go heavy, sometimes the joints and things don't have the same integrity as they used to. So now the muscle is no longer getting the same work, because now other muscles are trying to come in to stabilize the joint that's maybe not so stable anymore, right? Now, the other thing is your groove. Your groove will change depending on the weights you use, you know? So I'm always laughing at people, like on the internet, they'll see some guy, you know, bicep curl 225, and they're saying, oh, you're swinging, what's wrong with you? You're leaning back. Not realizing that if the guy's a 200 or 240 pound guy and he's lifting his body weight in front of him, he has to counterbalance. Otherwise, he'll just fall straight forward, you know? Try putting a tripod in front of you and then leaning a broomstick with a 25 pound dumbbell on the end and see what happens to the tripod. It'll just fall over, right? So your groove does change, and it doesn't mean the groove is wrong, it just means the groove is different, okay? So if the groove is different, you will hit the muscles differently. There will be different muscles that actually hit failure, and this will cause a different type of adaptation in the muscle. And this is beyond, you know, just a high reps versus low reps sort of thing. This is just the actual exercise changes, right? So knowing that this is a variation, you can sometimes step out of your box of saying, oh, I have to do the 5 to 7 rep day today, or I have to do the 10 rep day, because just know when you're doing 10 reps on an isolation exercise, you are actually working different muscles in a lot of cases than if you're doing 30 reps on an isolation exercise, because there's going to be different counterbalances and different joint movements involved, right? There's subtle cheating or subtle swinging or subtle movements going on that are different because that's just necessary. It's just a necessary part of the movement when you're using heavier weight, right? So somebody asked about tricep kickbacks and doing super high reps. Why are they getting results with this? Well, this is one of the reasons. Sometimes when people do tricep kickbacks, they're not really doing tricep kickbacks at all. They're doing rear delt kickbacks, and they're getting a lot of isometric contraction in the rear delt, but their tricep is not actually hitting absolute failure before their shoulder does, you know? So again, you know, play around with these high reps, but this is the reason why higher reps with isolation exercises can really help you develop an area, especially a stubborn area. Funny enough, I've seen some people, and this has happened with me as well, when they train with a weight for a period of time, they get stronger in a certain area, whatever exercise it might be, and then sometimes they have a lagging body part in that area, even though it's strong when it comes down to the lifts. You know, they might have a really high bench or shoulder press or whatever, and then the muscle that's corresponding to that lift might be actually not growing. It might not be very big, you know, it might be a bodybuilding weak link, you could say. And the thing is with this is that sometimes they're recruiting other muscles in order to do the job. So this is why lately in my vlogs, in my workout vlogs, I've been going a little lighter on chest. I've been trying to just get the squeeze and the contraction, and I'm trying to basically recruit the chest instead of just lift the weight, because my delts will start to come in and try to do the job for my chest, right? So I'm trying to just work with different rep ranges, even if they're 30, 40, 50 reps, or, you know, 10 reps of slower rep speed. And I'm just trying to work with that to see if this will bring the chest in more. And I have noticed some development since I've been doing this. Again, you know, mess around with this in your isolation movements. It's a really exciting thing once you realize that different rep ranges sometimes will change an exercise totally around. You know, you do 15 reps with squats and then you do 30 reps of squats or 5 reps of squats, it changes the groove. Everybody knows when they do 400 pounds on a squat or 200 pounds on a squat, your groove changes because there's a lot of counterbalancing going on, right? So different muscles get worked. So that's why high reps is really valuable as well as the low reps. You can't just, you know, throw them all out and say, oh, I just squatted and I'm this strong and so squat's a squat, right? Well, no, it's not like that. A squat is not a squat. A high rep will definitely influence different muscles in your legs than low rep, right? So anyway, use this as a tool in your toolbox. And happy training, and make sure you visit my website at naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and take care for now. There you go, train the muscles, not the joints. Guaranteed to make your back bigger, guaranteed.